fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God!
God, what?
%75% of this lap is full throttle. You are on the noisy pedal, you are trying to get yourself up to the highest possible top speeds you can, and you are trying to push a car to its limits. This is a car that absolutely loves being pushed to its limits of top speed around a track which loves pushing cars to the limit at top speed. Welcome to the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. Welcome to round 7 of the iRacing Grand Prix Series, and welcome to some absolutely sensational racing coming up to you. Thank you to SimSpeed TV. Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world, watching what is going to be probably the most intense race of the season. I'm Jake Sperry, Jay Kennedy, along with me for the ride as we tackle here in the Royal Park of Monza, just on the outskirts of Milan, what is probably one of the most famous, one of the most simple, and one of the most rewarding tracks probably in the world today. Jay, this is the sort of place which has seen all sorts of types of racing come and go. It's seen rally, it's seen Formula One cars for many years, and this might just be one of the most special places in the world to watch racing.
100% Sperry. Hello everyone, and cast our minds back only 12 odd weeks ago when we were here. It was absolutely incredible. We've seen a different sort of race each and every time we come here, from the absolute thrillers to seeing battles all the way to the finish line side by side, to huge incidents at the start of the race, huge incidents at the end of the race. One thing we are guaranteed here is action. It always happens here. What a track this is.
What a track, and especially for its history and legacy. Of course, tickets for this year's Formula One race, they came and went in a matter of minutes because of just how important it was to be there. But no such worries here for us here with SimSpeed TV and this incredible championship run it has been so far for car number 1 in terms of Oliver Stepanov here today. He'll be looking for a great run as we look at qualifying. 8 minutes, 2 laps here in these Mercedes AMG W12E performance machines as they go and make a drive over towards the line. You can see there that run by Andreas Henkel, good enough to go second fastest there on a 1:18.494. Jarl Tyen currently up as fastest at the moment, and there is Jorge Martinez out on track running through both of the right-handers there, Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, moving up now through the small kink left. You can see the DRS flap open, making that drive up to Ascari.
Yeah, probably not the season that Martinez has wanted so far. Hasn't been as consistent as previous, but still one of the top drivers we see each and every week. Always competitive and always right up there. Love this track in regards to how fast it is. It's such a high-speed circuit, and this race will fly by. 26 laps will not take long in these cars. Only a 1:18 for the fastest laps, 1:19.1 for Martinez. He'll be a little disappointed with that. That will only put him 7th on the grid.
Absolutely, and this is the sort of track where a lot of drivers are coming and going and trying to push. Kalen Chin is one of them right now as he looks to make the drive going over towards the Curva Alboreto, the final corner out on track, the former Parabolica corner, moving through the long right-hander, trying to put the power down as early as you can, keeping that car as balanced as possible on the drive towards the line. And what can Kalen Chin manage? The answer to that is not enough. An 18.8. Tamash Simon has snuck 100th quicker to go fastest out there overall. So he has stolen the march when it has come to qualifying. He'll be very happy about that. Gonzalo Romero is out there on a flying lap at the moment. He'll be one of the last cars to come over to the line along with Anthony Catt. And we are seeing a huge field here today. It's split 3 times, which is something we have seen all season, but we have hardly seen it split 3 times for a field of 26, Jay.
Yeah, I know. It's incredible how packed this field is. Great to see how many drivers we've got turning up. Fassbender will be the last driver to get a lap in. We saw, as you said there too, Adam Cohen, I think you said it was, that was also on the lap there. He slotted into 14th. I'm amazed at how close it is. We usually see maybe 1 or 2 cars within a tenth of a second of each other, but to see 3 cars within half a tenth of each other is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and look at Marcel Fassbender there. He was fighting the car through a scar. He slightly missed the apex through the first part of it, which meant he was out of position for the second, and then he's just really scrubbing the speed and struggling to fight in the number 7 machine. He will drive over towards the line. There'll be an 18.999. A 19.013 it will be on the timing board, so that'll be 7th fastest for car number 7, which is just about as much you're expecting. Kalen Chin's lap, by the way, did not count, and that will bring qualifying to a close. So let's get the starting grid up for you then, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they'll line up. It is the Hungarian Tamás Simon who gets it over yard time by just 1/100th of a second. Andreas Henkel starts third, and a great qualifying for Remy Garcia. He goes from 4th place. Filippo Grandi will have the championship leader by 301 points right now. Oliver Stepanov in 6th position. Marcel Fassbender will start this one from 7th, and Vincenzo Taormina will go from 8th place. Jorge Martinez will be back down there in 9th. He'll have the Mexican Jorge Almanza there in 10th position, with Anthony Catt and Nathan Graham rounding out the top 12 overall. Kent Nielsen finds himself in the middle of the field. He'll go from 13th along with Thomas Vieck in 14th. Adam Cohen, the New Zealander, will go from 15th position, I should say, and he will have Victor Awad along for company. Lukasz Okomski will start on row 9. He'll have James Dempster along for the ride in the number 22 car. Nice to see Hugo Preto back out there, one of the veterans of iRacing. He's there in 19th with Alexi Morichon rounding out the top 20. Following that, you've got Gonzalo Romero, Brandon Powell, George van Rensburg there in 23rd position. And then the 3 drivers who couldn't set a time, Kalen Chin, Christian Ottarola, and Jan Stratinsky rounding out the 26 cars here going to the grid. The last 3 all determined by their iRating, and as with every iRacing race, 2 minutes to grid up or you start from pit lane. There is Tamás Simon in the number 3 machine, has Andreas Henkel just behind him. Yartayan will be there on the dirty side of the circuit, but with the way they've been running in qualifying, that might actually be slightly cleaner than what people think. This is going to be an important race. It's 26 laps. They must switch on their tyres here today and go from a soft to a medium, or however they choose to do it. Almost everybody starting today on the medium compound tyre. So keep that in mind as everyone gets themselves to the position that they need to. Everyone now, green flag in the air. We're racing here from Monza. Now watch out for turn 1.
Oh,
it's
no.
the most dangerous stuff for a flag. Big accident in front of Kalen Chin. I think he just avoided it. Here they go in towards the opening corner then. And it is nicely done on the inside there by one Mr. Tamás Simon. He holds up nicely, but a number of cars not finding what they want. Alexi Morichon out with Brandon Powell and Gonzalo Romero.
Yeah, that was huge at the back. We'll get a replay soon. But the front of the field relatively clean. A little bit of a breakaway from Tiernan and Simon.
Chin's in trouble.
Yeah, he is. He's losing ground. He's around, actually. So we'll pick that up again soon. But up the front's relatively clean, which is great to see. Usually we see those sort of incidents at the front of the field. Good to see them, if they're going to happen, better at the back. Unfortunate for all those guys, though.
Absolutely, and I think there have been a lot of issues towards the rear, and it's definitely not ideal, but Simon has the lead, and he needs to make hay while the sun shines. The opening 2 laps are the most crucial in races like these. He's got Tyan there in 2nd, he's got Henkel in 3rd, and it's Garcia. Stepanov has gained a place. He's up into 5th ahead of Filippo Grandi there for the Mag Performance cars. Fassbender back there in 7th. You can see a little bit of grab of grass there going in towards the Curva Alboreto there, that final corner. So that could be something that could be worth keeping in mind. Drivers trying to push on early, but as you can see, no DRS at this point. That's when lap 3 becomes important. That's when you get to switch it on. And already you can see everyone is very close on this initial get-go.
Yeah, Fassbender's probably been one that's looking strong. I mean, he's had pressure from behind from Martinez, had pressure in front with Grandi, who's lost that spot, as you said, to Stepanov. But he's doing very, very well. And look at all those Mag Performance cars all around him. He's doing a great job making sure that one still sticks behind, trying to make it two.
The luminous yellow and blue is pretty much everywhere. I'm not sure if you can call that a yellow or a green moving through, but you can see just behind that as well, charging on through, Vincenzo Taormina is trying to give everything he possibly can. He's got Veek, he's got Adam Cohen there as well, just behind him. And the middle of the pack really hasn't formed and caused a massive amount of issues early on. I think we're seeing quite a bit as we go to the virtual racing school replay here, how the mid-pack has really gone on okay, but it's the start where it all pretty much went wrong. You can see just everyone's trying to find a bit of room, and that is a heavy, heavy accident there. And one of the great safety innovations, you don't see it too much in sim racing, but the halo, probably the best thing possible you're going to see here. This is how far back Kalen Chin was, and he still had to check up.
Yeah, he was a long way back. He just checked up to make sure he didn't get involved at all. And then what's happened to make him head off the
Red
second?
car.
Oh, 3 wide ahead. Oh!
That's Dempster.
Dempster.
Yeah, that is a case, I think, of Dempster realising that he had damage, tried to get out of the way as quickly as possible, but, you know, you get that deer in the headlights moment, I just got to move myself over to the inside. I don't think he realised that Kalen Chin was there.
100% don't think he realised it was a pretty full-on hit. And I mean, when you're 3 wide as well and you just check up, you're probably not looking in your mirrors at all. You're worried about what's going on ahead with how hectic that little group of cars were. So, interesting to see. Also, while we were on that replay, Stepanov did manage to get past Remy Garcia. We'll move at turn 1. Nothing too exciting, just a textbook classic move at Monza, especially now that DRS is happening too. You can see Stepanov is probably the one to watch out for now, because he's already right on the back of Andreas Henkel.
Yeah, and number 5 of Andreas Henkel has probably been one of the closest in terms of pace towards it at this point in time. He knows what he needs to do. The only 2 drivers who started on the soft were Christian Ottarola and George van Rensburg. So those are the only 2 on the soft. Everybody else in the field is on the medium tyre, and here's where you're going to start seeing the moves happen, and drivers trying to get close. Stepanov pulling out, not close enough under braking though, has to stay patient and wait, and he's got to make the move this lap or the next lap, because that gap to Yard Tyron is already 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, Henkel, you did notice there, he did not have DRS, so at the activation point coming into Parabolica, he did not, it was not within that 1 second. So Henkel starting to lose a bit of ground as you're seeing something at the back, Sperry.
Yeah, Lukas Komski having to go straight on at the Retafilo. I think there was a little bit of a oopsie-daisy because Ottarola and Van Rensburg, the 2 soft runners, tried to find themselves a way through. Now you're going to see here, bit of contact there for Ottarola, and he hits the brakes, tries to slow it down, and suddenly, I've got nowhere to go. I'll have to go straight on.
It was a little bit messy, that little whole section there, wasn't it? As Anthony Catt loses a spot with the DRS to Nathan Graham. One thing I wanted to comment about too before I forget, how cool was it when we were going through the grid there, seeing so many different nationalities represented in this series?
Truly is a global series, the iRacing Grand Prix Series, and everyone around the world wants to fight and give as much as they possibly can, especially at this sort of time when it comes to Saturday night racing on the European continent. There's a little look now against Anthony Catt from Kent Nielsen, the Canadian, trying to find his way through, move up inside the top 10, moves to the right-hand side, later on the brakes. Can he slow it up? He can, but he's not got himself cleared, leaves the room, and gets himself the place by traction on the exit. Anthony Catt lighting up the rears, couldn't find himself a way to hold on.
And now Taormina's probably not quite close enough, but he's going to feel like he's there or thereabouts to potentially get a move done. Taormina's been the biggest loser out of the start. He's lost 4 spots from where he started. He and Monza, both the 2 drivers that have lost out from that start. Monza down 5, so they've lost a fair bit. Jan Stratinsky, the biggest mover in the field, he's up 7, as well as Ottarola as well, up 7.
And you could say with those drivers, Taormina and Almantha, that they haven't really done anything too much wrong. They've just been in the wrong place, trying to settle in maybe on the tyres, or maybe have more confidence when it comes to the soft in comparison to the yellow walled medium compound tyre. They do have to make a change in this race. This is probably as well what you'd say, Jay, one of the least tyre wearing style circuits out there. There's not much you really have to worry about. You could probably take these sets of medium tyres all the way to the end, but they are going to have to think about when's the right time to stop and when do you go. Here's the defence now coming forward for Kent Nielsen, because Kat's going to come straight back. And, well, for curiosity on the outside, they're going to come together. And there goes Remy Garcia as well. Garcia around and Kat making contact with Nielsen.
And Garcia's going to drop, 4 spots there. So Remy Garcia's lost out big time, coming back out behind Thomas Wick. And
well, Grandy.
lost. Yeah, so there's been a little bit of contact there as Anthony Kat loses a spot there too, or another couple of spots. So what a crazy little segment of corners there.
Yeah, that's Thomas Wiek who's just made the pass. Let's take a look at this then. So these two made contact together, and you can see there just in the background of shot there, Remy Garcia had already had his incident, and he actually did make contact with Filippo Grandi on the run. So here's Grandi. He's going to go to the outside trying to make this move. Absolutely rifles it in there. But as they go on the exit, they get close together, and it's the weirdest bit of netcode I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a bit strange, that one. So unfortunate, but does happen. Grandi now up into 5th. Doesn't look like his car's got any damage at all. It looks like A-OK, but Remy Garcia may have some issues with that front wing, may have to get a front wing change when he comes in for his pit stop in a few laps. Interesting too that Remy Garcia has not registered an official lap time in this race yet. Remember, the drivers each have 17 incidents, so you've got to be very, very careful to make sure that you do not get to that 17 incident point limit. If you do, you're going to do a drive-through, heavily costly at this track.
Absolutely is. Taormina couldn't find a way through on Kent Nielsen then in that battle. Front 4, though, are away at this point in time. Simon leads, Tayan in 2nd, Henkel 3rd, Stepanov in 4th, on board from the front wing as he drives through, does the Austrian through Lesmo 2 and starts to drive. And Remy Garcia looks like he's had another little problem out there in his machine, and he might be in a world of hurt as he had himself a little bit more contact, I believe, with Anthony Kat into the 2nd chicane.
Yeah, there's been a tiny little bit of contact there, and we'll see if we can pick it up. So
That's the back end.
Back end of it. We'll go back a bit further, rewind the tape a bit more.
So here you're going to see Remy Garcia has already lost places, wants to get on the aggressive factor. He's going to dive down in, just can't get it slowed, and not the best angle for it, but there was contact between the two, and he finds the tyres on the outside of the Della Roggia.
We'll swap the camera angle and have another look at that. As
All for the lead.
On for the lead right now.
And Tyan's through. So, oh, that's a horrible little hit there, Jay.
Yeah, that's
not much
not
that Remy
good.
Garcia can do, but there has been a change for the race lead. Jarl Tyan now leads this race, getting it done. There's a little look at it. Easy pickings. Henkel was able to hold on to his 3rd place.
Yeah, you saw just at the back of that shot there that there was an attempt at a move there from Stepanov, but couldn't quite get through. And what that's actually done, because that move was done so easily, Thomas Simon basically let Jarl Tyan through, and then Henkel and Stepanov actually fought. It's meant that gap's blown out to 1.5 seconds. No more DRS for Henkel. Means these front two, if they play it smart, which obviously they did in the way that they did that overtake, they could break away, make it impossible for Stepanov to come up through if he does get the move done.
Oh, you could see how much Stepanov was struggling there in the turbulence in comparison to Andreas Henkel. He was all over the place trying to find some front-end grip to the car. Moves through Parabolica. You can see that green light on the steering wheel there on the dash effectively indicates you've got DRS, might as well use it. And then going down this front stretch, it's going to be about how quick can you go. Stepanov at 3:31 trying to chase this down, and he gets very deep on the brakes, gets it sorted before the apex, moves up into 3rd, and crucially has brought a teammate to the party. Pipo Grandi just behind, trying to find himself an opportunity to get past Andreas Henkel.
Yeah, Henkel's not able to get the elbows out as much as I thought he may have been able to.
There's a stopped car. Stratinsky. And that looks so technical. So Stratinsky, and this is in a really dangerous place actually out on track. It was at Ascari, where I think his screen's completely frozen. He's just stopped the car, got himself out of the car and away. It's the weirdest thing I've seen, Jay.
Yeah, he's just randomly stopped. It's unusual, isn't it? He's just been stopped there for a while too. We'll see if we can work out what's happened.
It looks like a screen freeze or something because there's nothing to indicate it here.
He's just starting to slow down.
Yeah, just in trouble, takes the turn, and it's like, I can't see anything. Hit the binders. What's going on?
Very, very strange. Tian's already checked out to a 1.2 second lead. Huge advantage.
It's massive at this track, especially when the DRS is such a factor. Tamas Simon is no slouch when it comes to this machine. We know he's quick, and there is Andreas Henkel, unable to do anything about Oliver Stepanov. Behind that as well, Marcel Fassbender really having to fight with Martinez. We've got these little packs starting to form now. Taormina still can't find a way through on Kent Nielsen, the battle for ninth. But here's some side-by-side. This is Almantha trying to get past Adam Cohen in the 21. Can he get the drive off of the exit? He'll have another little run through Curva Grande over towards the Variante della Roggia. And if he can get himself that opportunity at the della Roggia to make that move, he's got a really good chance. But he was trying to fish for an angle there, which just wasn't open, trying to go around the outside through the Roggia, and it still might be open, but no drive.
Been an overtake here. Fassbender's lost the spot, a little bit too much curb. I think that's a slow down penalty, just get on the brakes. Let Martinez through. Fassbender now loses a spot.
As easy as that. So you have to be very, very cautious around this circuit with where the marks are. 1.5 seconds now the lead. And Andreas Henkel trying to come back here against Oliver Stepanov as they try and drive the battle for third position here in this race. And at the moment, this one has been going by incredibly quickly. We're almost at halfway. Henkel with a chance then will be trying to find a way through, but as they hit the brakes at pretty much maximum, bouncing off the rev limiter, he can't get close enough to Stepanov, and Stepanov is able to hold on. And you can see just from these machines here as Taormina goes around the outside, and Kent Nielsen's trying to fight every stage of the way. Contact, and he gets turned on the front end. Taormina faces backwards.
Got to be careful of the rejoin too. And Nielsen didn't do too much wrong there. He was just holding the line, didn't have to give up the spot. Taormina got a little bit aggressive with how much he was trying to cut across. Wheel-to-wheel contact, unfortunate incident. You're saying that we're getting to halfway. Won't be too far away from seeing these medium tyre runners jumping into the pits. In saying that, some may even think that they can make these mediums last all the way to the end.
Well, they do have to make a tyre switch.
They do,
so
yes, you're right.
At one point, they could get to 25 and make a stop and go one lap, but I doubt many people will be thinking about that. There is a driver in for the pits, Anthony Catt, 10.2 seconds in the box, which indicates front wing, and yeah, that's the Whitewall hard compound tyres. I'm surprised to see that. We might be seeing that because track temperature is 41 degrees.
Yeah, it is very, very warm out there. Of course, all the races this season are starting with noon time of day, so it means that the track temps are a little bit warmer this season to previous, which definitely has made a little bit of a change in regards to the tyre wear, but not as extreme as a lot of drivers were potentially expecting. So tyre wear still not as huge a factor in this series as we may have thought. Right on cue, pit stops happening, but Rensburg in.
Yeah, so an early call for George van Rensburg. He may have been listening. He's the only driver who's got a spotter in server with him. He's got Lyle Pienaar, who's along with him, helping him out with his strategy call. So he's gone in and has gone back out again. Remember, he was a soft compound runner and has switched over to the mediums. Taormina also in. He'll switch to the soft compound and get himself back going again. So this is where you get interesting calls on strategy. I would expect maybe the likes of Ottorola to be coming in next lap.
The fact that we've seen the soft guys that are out there at the moment go so long on the softs, I mean, only one at the moment is Ottorola, but the fact that he's going out there and his pace is still reasonably good, very, very competitive within the guys around him. We'll say to the guys at the front, yes, we can definitely do 13, 14 laps on softs. Do we push it to 15 and come in now? I'm surprised we haven't seen anyone at the front maybe risk it and try something.
Well, we haven't really seen too much in terms of strategy. It's been pretty much plain sailing as Henkel gets close again, but once more on the brakes. Oliver Stepanov is just that little bit later, and there's not really much that Andreas Henkel can do to argue against the overtakes. Jan Stratinsky's back out there, by the way. He's 2 laps down, so whatever issue he has been fixed, as in comes Remy Garcia. No surprise to see him in to try and make a stop. He has had probably a woeful experience after qualifying on the second row.
So how beaten up does Brandon Powell's car look from the start of that race too? Only 3 wheels on the wagon. He's not looking too happy there, looking a bit of a sad Mercedes car. Interesting battle here now. If Henkel can't get this spot back, I think he needs to pit and get out of the group and try something different. I think just staying there and staying the course is not the preferred way for him to get this move done. He's going to have to try and do it in the pits.
I agree, and 1 lap on an undercut might be useful. Use the fresh tyres, get himself up to speed, and find the pass on Oliver Stepanov, who leads the championship outright. There's your leader, Yard Tyen, and there is these drivers all pushing. No reason to come in just yet here to move on to lap 14. Over half distance now, and Oliver Stepanov will be looking behind, because here will come Henkel on the right-hand side, breezing through. Look at that as he goes through. Stepanov not fighting it at all.
Well, maybe we were completely wrong about Henkel needing to pit to get the move done. He's just gone and done it and absolutely surprised us. That would have come down to saving the battery there. Use the battery life just to get that move done. We've got a couple of pit stops. Graham in, Nielsen in. So a couple of guys coming in to make their stops. Both going to the soft tyres as well.
Ken Nielsen missed his box slightly, so he's lost himself a little bit of time, which will be interesting between himself and Taormina in terms of where they all deal out. Of course, Taormina had that issue and that spin, and Nielsen's actually going to come out with Remy Garcia. There you see your leading 4 out there and driving through. Ascari went Yard Tyen. You can see there you got Simon and Henkel and Stepanov. And Stepanov there might have allowed that move from Andreas Henkel, because it puts him very nicely and snugly back in range with Tamas Simon, who has dropped off the pace in comparison to Yard Tyen. You look at the last few laps that they've done. Tyen was a 21.6, Simon a 22 flat. There was a 21.8 and a 21.9 for Stepanov and Henkel.
Yeah, his pace just isn't... I mean, it's fantastic pace, but it's just not quite able to match the pace that we're seeing out of Tyen. And interesting to note that lap there from Andreas Henkel, the fastest lap of the race, except for 1 from Tamas Simon earlier on.
And you would have said that the DRS and the overtake would have helped. Thomas Wieck and Jorge Almanza are diving into the pits. Christian Ottarola, what a run for him. 14 laps full on a set of softs. That's impressive.
Yep. Guys that are out there now knowing that they're going to the softs will know, hey, we can definitely make it home on these soft tyres. So there'll be a point where they go, yeah, the cut over between the medium and the soft, so that the soft at the end of the stint and the medium midway through a stint is about the same. So it's time to come in. I'm thinking the end of the next lap will be when we'll see these guys in.
That might be one time they start thinking about it. So we'll see if that becomes the case. Henkel now on the back of Tamas Simon. If he wants to have any hopes of winning this race, he's going to have to make that move PD and Q if he wants to try and move up in towards a race-leading position. But you can see Tamas Simon is diving into the pits. His tyres said they could go no further. And that's what's really surprising about this for Tamas Simon. Normally, he is the sort of driver who is absolutely fantastic at saving his tyres.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised by how the tyres have dropped off. His pace has dropped off. So you could see it probably most notably through the exit of Ascari. He's just wasn't quite able to nail that final corner as well as the guys behind, and that was where he was losing maybe 2/10 just through that section. 2/10 when you're this close at this much speed is a huge margin to lose. So he's probably thinking, well, time to get the softs gun, punch out some qualifying laps and see if I can jump that gap back up to Tyen. He's rejoined in 7th position, and the positive for him, clear track around him.
A clear track and a clear piece of mind to go
messy.
for it. Wieck then overtaken by Remy Garcia there. Good pass and getting that one nicely sorted. The Frenchman charging, and there is contact. and out of the race. A heavy smash there for one Christian Ottarola, who unfortunately there with Anthony Cat was looking for the right move, got it all nicely sorted, but the issue that he had is he was over the curb and then he gets the hit.
Yeah, just tiny little tap on the curb and bang into the wall. Rear of the car doesn't like it. As have a look at who's in the pits.
Everyone.
Our leaders are in. Stepanov, interestingly, has stayed out.
Everyone except Stepanov then do what everyone else isn't. So Tyen's going to get out and away, but where will they be in comparison to Tamas Simon? This is going to be a crucial braking zone into the Variante di Rettifilo, and Simon has made sure he has stayed ahead of Andreas Henkel with that stop. He has brought the gap down a little bit to Jarl Tyen, but I'd say he hasn't got that within a second. He is still 2.2 back, so these are crucial laps right now. He has the tyres up to temperature. He has got to move.
He does, and the one thing he also wants is a minor mistake from Jarl Tyen. He doesn't have to have a huge mistake. Just one small luck up, enough to hyperheat the tyres is all he needs, and that will be the difference in the gap closing or the gap maintaining, as the tyres are now back up to temp for Tamas Simon. For Jarl Tyen. He's already started to pull that gap back out once again.
Certainly is. We'll see a representative lap from Tamas Simon this time through, which I think is going to be the most telling. We've also got a great battle as well here, exactly right now. You can see it's Nathan Graham who is through on Marcel Fassbender, so has got the jump with the undercut in the stop. But here comes Fassbender up into Ascari. Oh, close as it gets. Marcel Fassbender, what a pass.
Wow, I thought that was going to end in tears. That's why I said, oh no, because it never works there, but he's made it work somehow. Stepanov is in, so where is he going to rejoin in comparison to Tamas Simon? Look at how far back he is. He's lost a heap of ground.
He absolutely has. He's actually behind Pipo Grandi now,
yeah,
and will be in the middle of no man's land. He'll have Jorge Martinez for company as he'll go down in towards turn number one. One lap makes all the difference for Oliver Stepanov, and if you want comparison of times, Tamas Simon did a 1:20.5 on that last lap.
Fastest lap of the race by 0.7 of a second. Incredibly fast lap. The only issue he's got is everyone else is now on the same as him. They'll be able to punch out those fast laps as well themselves. Nathan Graham couldn't quite get back past the beautiful move from Marcel Fassbender, so that is positional change complete. Fassbender starting to break away a tiny little bit.
Certainly is, and he is trying to get things sorted. There's Jan Stratinsky trying to stay out of the way of one Mr. Oliver Stepanov and one Jorge Martinez just behind him. These are very crucial laps at this stage. They are 1 and 2 in the championship, 301 points though, the margin between them. It's been the sort of season where Oliver Stepanov week in and week out has been up there near the front, scoring major points, and everyone else who's been around like Simon and Henkel and Tyen, they haven't been there every week to try and challenge.
Yeah, and it's just been consistent. One of the keys of winning a championship is capitalising on your bad weeks. Turning your bad weeks into okay weeks so that is the big thing to win a championship. Not necessarily worrying about your bad rounds and your bogey tracks, but capitalising on those and getting decent results from races that you shouldn't be getting decent results in. And Stepanov, after that mistake in the pit stop, if he can gain one more spot, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to capitalise on a bad week, turn it into a fourth. At the moment, P5, still not horrible. Championship-wise, it still will be decent for him.
Just noticed Victor Howard has just gone in and out of the pits again, and George van Rensburg actually went straight on at turn number one last lap. So both of those drivers having a little bit of a coming together. Howard's had to make another stop because I think he just ran up the back, actually, of the South African driver. So Howard's race, not good at all. But there is your leader, Jarl Tyen, and he is just monstering away. Half a second almost on that last lap compared to Tamas Simon. The only time I remember half a second on Tamas Simon in any capacity, Jay, was watching the Dallara World Championships and commentating them when it was a race between Peter Berryman and Martin van Loosenoord. Tamas Simon is very seldom beaten for pace in a race.
100%. He's just always there, and he's one of the drivers that just does the same thing, just capitalises on those bogey tracks and still gets decent results. But that lap from Yaltine was the fastest lap. The previous lap was the fastest lap from him. He was 0.3 faster than the lap we saw previous from Simon. Fastest lap now, though, goes to Oliver Stepanov. We were saying that he needed to capitalise and try and find some extra pace, try and get one more spot. He's doing everything he can to do that. 0.8 faster than the driver ahead, his teammate, Grandi.
Yeah, he certainly is, but Filippo Grandi did a 121 flat. It was a 120.244 for Oliver Stepanov, so he is absolutely motoring to try and get as many points as he can, and he knows he needs points here. He knows he needs crucial points, Jay, because this is probably the highest strength of field we'll see all season.
100%. It's definitely been the biggest strength of field we've seen all season. We've been absent for a couple of races, but huge points on offer today is going to be a big talking point post-race as well. Whoever can get the most points out of this race is going to be in a great position. Still concerned about a couple of drivers in regards to incident points as well. Fingers crossed we don't see any issues with regards to drive-through penalties, but we may see one at some point, which is always something to keep an eye on towards the end of the races. 40-second time penalty if you get that on the last lap.
Yeah, and we have seen it before here around this Monza track where drivers have lost a lot of time. Here's the battle for 12th position, though, as it is Jorge Almanza, the Mexican, trying to find a way past the New Zealander out there in Adam Cohen, the number 21 versus the 10. Here comes Almanza, but not close enough to make any legitimate move in towards the Rettifilo. But the good news about this circuit is there's always another straight. No matter which way you look, there's always another straight. You can run through Curva Grande here and have a chance at the Della Roggia potentially.
Yeah, and if you can't get that, then you're into the Lesmos and you can have another crack there, and then after that you got a DRS zone. So always another opportunity to try and get a move done in these cars at this track, just because DRS zones and the heavy braking zones bring you back into contention each and every corner.
They absolutely do, as it chills out for the top 5. It's here in the lower positions where the race is really starting to light up, and these drivers know that this is valuable experience that they're getting. And the one thing that I do love seeing here around this circuit, around this Monza track, is that run underneath the old oval banking. You can run the oval track in iRacing, but under the oval banking, there's that small little bump that always has drivers second guessing what they do. Either they drive over it, or they pretty much go to the left-hand side. It's pretty much exactly the same philosophy as going over the manhole cover just after Casino Square at Monaco.
You know, it's funny, I was thinking it's almost the same thing, and then you beat me to take my line. So thanks, Mary, for taking my my one little bit of interesting tidbits I might have had. You are right, though, and it's not noticeable in a lot of cars, but this car really exacerbates how big that bump is. Just noticing as well on the timing sheet, sorry to distract and go back to talking about this race right now, Henkel is starting to close the gap down to Thomas Simon. I mean, on the timing sheet last lap, he wasn't gaining any time, but this lap here, he's gained around about half a second, and he's within 1.5 seconds again.
He absolutely is, and he is trying to claw that back. He is trying desperately to get within that 1 second range to use the drag reduction system. Oliver Stepanov as well, you can see he's a lot closer to his teammate there in Filippo Grandi, trying to work out if 4th position is going to be right, but they are running out of time here. We're down to just 4 laps to go. 1.2 between Simon and Henkel. The gap between Grandi and Stepanov down to 7/10.
Yeah, I thought there may have been enough with that DRS so that gap to close down, but I'm thinking Stepanov's probably saving some battery for the next lap to be able to make that move. So that's the other thing that we don't often talk about, is making sure you keep your attack mode, your battery, and use it in the right spots to be able to get moves done as well. So you might have great 1 lap pace, but if you're using all your battery, it negates the whole point of having that 1 lap pace, because then you can't defend, can't attack with the battery life on those following laps. So interesting how drivers use that as well. We saw that really fast lap earlier on from Thomas Simon. Almost instantly wasn't able to match that lap time. So he obviously used a lot of battery on that fast lap we saw him from his first flyer out of the pits.
Yeah, definitely the case, and they do have that attack mode which they can use around this circuit and use to great effect to both attack and defend. So you've got to make sure that you are saving up the energy recovery system as part of these hybrid engines, these V6s that they're running as they go forward. Of course, in the future they'll be getting rid of the MGU-H component from it and going purely kinetic. So now as they charge and look to try and run forward, what can you do? Oliver Stepanov, this might be the easiest pass he'll have against Filippo Grandi. Will move over to the inside. But remember, Filippo Grandi on virtual home soil for the second straight week. But that won't mean anything because through goes Oliver Stepanov. He moves back up into 4th place.
And we said before that if he could get it back to 4th, that's a good end to a bad day. We go to the battle just ahead because have a look at how close this is getting now between Henkel and Thomas Simon. It is 1 second exactly.
1 second exactly, but it now depends on how Tamas Simon can fend off Andreas Henkel, who has been pretty much a nice complement to the way that Tamas Simon has been driving this season. Henkel all the way over to the left-hand side, wants none of the draft. He has no reason to go over that bump as he moves through Ascari, the left, the right, and now the left, trying to stay in range, trying to give himself something to work with at this point in time, knowing he is only 2 laps away. He might only get 1 opportunity to make the move against Tamas Simon, riding with the Michael Schumacher helmet as he runs through the final corner here at the Curva Alboreto. You can see it's 9/10 of a second, and now for Andreas Henkel, he has not got himself the DRS. So this is a vital lap. Andreas Henkel knows this is the money lap.
Yep, he has to use everything he's got to get the DRS for that one final move on the final lap. Tamas Simon will be trying to save his battery life for that next lap as well. So it's an interesting dynamic with 2 to go. How much battery do you use now if you're Henkel to try and get the spot? Interesting, at the back of the field, Remy Garcia's had to come in for another stop. He's got a black flag, drive-through penalty, incident points.
Yeah, and that is a real hurt for Remy Garcia because he was one of the drivers who's been caught up in pretty much everything in this one, and he'll fall way down the order. We're heading towards a lap and a half to go, and there is Andreas Henkel again, and now he has DRS here on this run up towards Ascari. He won't make a pass here, but he will get closer, and that's crucial. He'll comfortably get within 7/10, 6/10, but this is where it has to matter, Jay.
Yep, the DRS zone, they're not usually there for passes, but it's there to bring drivers close enough to the activation line right there. You saw the white line on the track. That is the line that distinguishes where the 1 second bracket is. Within half a second, this is on now.
Final lap then, and can Andreas Henkel find a move up into second position against Tamas Simon? Simon moving here, there and everywhere, trying to shake him off. Henkel closes right up under brakes as they move through the Variante de Rettifilo and move on towards the Della Roggia. Then turn numbers 4 and 5 on track. They'll go through Curva Grande flat out. And now Andreas Henkel knows he is running out of time to make this move. He is not close enough here into the Della Roggia, the left, followed by the right, and trying to put the power down and trying to get something. He has to follow through these 2 Lesmo corners with absolute certainty and authority if he wants to move up and wants to gain this place. That gap's still around half a second out there at the moment. It's going to be close. I think Henkel's going to get to about 2/10 of a second here and isn't going to find himself in range. He'll move through the left and right, and he's trying everything he can to get close, but there's only one braking zone left. Soon to ride up towards it, though, is going to be one Yard-Tyen, who has just been driving in his own realm since making the pass earlier in the race on Tamas Simon. He has been a cut above the rest. Yard-Tyen is going to win here at the Temple of Speed. Tamas Simon is going to hold off Andreas Henkel in the battle for second and third positions. Overall, some great racing up and down the order, and for the minor positions, you could argue it's still not over and done with just yet. Marcel Fassbender struggling towards the end. Nathan Graham trying to chase down.
Yeah, Marcel Fassbender, the previous lap, couldn't get a replay of it, but he did lose a whole heap of ground through the Ascari chicane. Lost around about 8 seconds, so he almost lost the spot there, was able to hold on. Adam Cohen will pick up a P11 finish, a big result for him one of the bigger movers in the field, but the biggest mover, Jan Straczynski, even with issues, up 7 positions, and George van Rensburg will also finish up 6 positions as well. So good results for those guys, even though they may not look it on the timing sheet. The fact they didn't get laps in qualifying means that their results are pretty decent.
Yeah, I just want to go back a little bit on replay as well. Have a look at the likes of Stepanov and co, because they just lined up, Jay, for the team photo after the Rettifilo. Yeah, you can see they've just stopped there, and we just caught the back end of it. They lined up for the team photo. So expect that then for Mag Performance. You can see they all slow it down and all look for their margin. You can see this is just about as perfectly lined up as you can possibly get it there. Here's 1, there's 2. There's 3. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. That is what teamwork's all about. We'll line up together. We'll get the photo. You got the photo? Good. We're all sorted. We'll move on to results. So that was some great racing up and down, and some strong racing for some strong drivers as well. So that is going to be absolutely fantastic. I heard that Yartayan's looking for an interview as well, if possible. But Yartayan absolutely dominating the race there with his time of 35 minutes and 38 seconds. He wins by a margin of 5.2 come the end of this one. He manages to get it sorted ahead of Tamas Shimon, and Andreas Henkel will finish up in 3rd place overall. It would be 4th for Oliver Stepanov. His decision to stay out longer was the one that cost him the most in this race, just managing to finish ahead of Filippo Grandi, who finishes off in P number 5. Jorge Martinez will take 6th, with Marcel Fassbender started in 7th, finished in 7th with the number 7 on his car. I'd have to say 7's a lucky number. He only just managed to finish ahead of Nathan Graham there, who maybe had visions of P number 7 in that race, with Kent Nielsen in 9th and 10th position belonging to Thomas Wieck, which by my maths means 9 different nationalities inside the top 10, and I think it goes back as far as 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different nationalities inside the top 18. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the maths. With Adam Cohen in 11th, Jorge Almanza in 12th place. Anthony Catt will finish 13th on the hard compound tyre, with Vincenzo Taormina in 14th, half a second back. Remy Garcia had to take the extra stop. That's why he's back down in 15th, with Lukas Okomski. George van Rensburg taking the different strategy there in 17th. Didn't quite pay out for him, with Victor Awad, the last finisher on the leading lap, in 18th position. 2 laps down, a screen freeze for Jan Straczynski. Definitely not what he was hoping for, as he will take 19th, ahead of Christian Otarola, who was a retiree, was the Chilean. And then you had a whole host of drivers out in the opening 2 laps. Kalen Chin and James Dempster coming together just after the Variante de Rettifilo. Gonzalo Romero as well, also a retiree from that. And then the 3 drivers caught up on a lap 1 incident. Almost didn't make it to the start line in terms of the way they made that hit. Brandon Powell, Hugo Preto, and Alexi Morichon finding themselves in a little bit of trouble. But we go to the home, the origin of Formula Racing when it comes to Silverstone. It is a British spectacle. It is the biggest British circuit out there in the world. And Jay, every time we go here, you know, people think that this track is overrated. People think that this track probably doesn't deserve its place sometimes on the calendars, but it is a staple, and it's a staple for a reason. It is a high-speed roller coaster.
100%, absolutely brilliant track. I love it. I didn't think when the changes came to the circuit I'd enjoy it, but I actually think it's made the Formula Racing definitely better. Maybe not so much in some other cars, but F1 and open wheel cars definitely has improved the racing at that circuit. Love it. Cannot wait. Bring on next week.
Bring on next week indeed. So the only place you can catch that is with us here at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance to already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. There's so much great racing that goes on at all times of the day, so make sure you check in for the next great racing that goes on. From everyone, though, who has helped get it done, the iRacing open wheel community has been a big one in terms of sourcing us the Grand Prix Series over to us here with our action, as well as, once again, the Virtual Racing School, who have been on the replays for us here at SimSpeed TV. From Jay Kennedy doing a double, cameras and commentary, myself, Jake Sperry, it's been a pleasure to bring you some amazing racing once again. But Yartayan has just proven once again why he is such an elite driver he has that ability to go to a mode where the likes of Tamas Simon, for example, Andreas Henkel, Oliver Stepanov, drivers who we thought were tier 0, well, they've now been bumped down to tier 0.5 because Jarl Teyen just gave everyone a lesson. We'll see you 1 week from today, and we'll be jumping over to Silverstone.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?